Good evening, Bill Wadman.
Good evening, Sandy. How are you?
I'm fine. This evening we're going to talk about a massive heartthrob. Yes!
Now, is this someone that you've always thought of as a heartthrob?
Always, all my life, I have been wildly in love with this particular heartthrob.
Do you remember when you first saw them?
Well, I must have been quite little. Um, I can't really remember which would have been the first film I watched as a proper watch of film with this actor in it, but my memory now of him is very much of Drugstore Cowboy.
Was he in Outsiders?
Yeah, he was in Outsiders. But I think I would have been too young to watch Drugstore Cowboy when I was 10, so that must have been something I came to later. But that's like the abiding sense of him. And also actually in To Die For, which I think is a really underrated
Yeah,
movie as well.
yeah.
He's been in lots of stuff, so of course, and please do notice art throb.
I see what you did. I see what you did there.
We're talking about the gorgeous and glorious Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon.
Tell me,
Now,
where did you
until an
first?
article I saw a couple weeks ago, I did not know that he was an artist. Were you well aware of this?
I knew that he had been making art only because I subscribed to the New York Times and there was an article, which I think is the one that you probably saw at the beginning of
Yeah.
May, that jogged my memory. I think I was somewhere like maybe Pace Gallery in London a couple of years ago, and there was like a flyer maybe for something of his. But anyway, I mean, he's so stratospherically, famously gorgeous that I was very skeptical.
Of him being an artist.
Yeah, and I think
Wait, hold on a second. What does him being gorgeous have to do with being an artist? Listen, I'm gorgeous and I'm an artist.
I think more it's to do with appreciating that people who already have a measure of fame and wealth have a usually, a greater sense of freedom, or one might even say a free pass.
Yeah, or sort of carpetbaggers in other art forms, that kind of thing.
And it pained me a little bit because I thought, oh my God, I don't want to see this art and for it to be truly dreadful because that would completely besmirch my vision of this godlike
Yeah,
man
but
actor.
it's not.
But it's actually really good.
Better than Adrian Brody's art.
It's it's better, it's certainly better than what's his name, the Rolling Stone.
Oh,
Always.
there's a Rolling Stone person who has makes art.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I don't want to say something that's horribly negative about somebody who cannot defend themselves, but
Hey, and you might get sued in England, so I know how you feel.
anyway, so Matt Dillon apparently has actually always been somehow kind of connected to art. Again, I don't know how much you know about his life beyond movies.
I know
Um,
nothing about him beyond movies.
I think it's someone like his uncle or his great uncle was one of the original artists for the comic strip of Flash Gordon in the 30s.
Okay.
And he certainly spent a lot of time. He was brought up in New York, I think, but he moved to California. And I think in California, he roomed with someone who was an art dealer. And he was exposed to lots of what I think of as like American contemporary artists in the 80s. And whether that was the thing that showed him he could do what he now does, or if it's that he realised that you didn't have to just be the pretty face to make the work. Apparently, he's always painted, so he's always been in a trailer somewhere on location, keeping sketchbooks. He's always been interested in understanding kind of like the visual culture of the places he's travelled to for work. And obviously, the privilege here is that he has had access to lots of travel, lots of interesting people, and of course, because of not just the way he looks, but also his status as an actor.
Yeah, people are going to accept his artwork even just for the fan service of it.
Sure, they're going to gravitate towards it anyway. I'm just going to turn the light on.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say.
but the best thing about all this is that
There
the
she
work
is.
is really, really good.
Yeah, it's not. I like. I was looking. I was like, am I crazy or is this actually good?
So I haven't gone that far back in time, but I have gone pre-COVID. Uh, it's something that I think is wonderful when you do happen upon an artist who is informed, like a multi-layered process of emerging as an artist who's already immersed in another kind of, in his case, performing arts world, is that at least I think I can see how that other world impacts what he does. He loves people like Rauschenberg. Um, he's got some big hitters in his stable of influences.
Sure.
But when I look at things like this, I do see somebody who is aware of theatre and performance and
Yeah.
the things that would make his other career valid. It's very moving because it sort of it does actually have a sweeping movement within it and has that powerful red.
There's a sense in art circles, people who are into art and the I'm going to use the word, but I don't know that it's fair, progression of art.
Mm.
That somebody could look at his work. It's like if a sculptor came out tomorrow and made marble sculptures like Bernini, we would say, oh, he's just copying Bernini. Yes, he's a great craftsman, but he's not actually doing anything new, right?
Mm.
You could claim that like the work that Matt Dillon is making like is not necessarily for the year 2019. It's for the year 1988 or 1958 or whatever it is. Does it matter that he's not doing something that is on the edge of what's possible in the art world? Is it good enough just to be good at art without being someone who is moving art forward or changing art into new places? You know what I'm saying?
That's like saying that language is dead because we speak the same words every day. Um,
No, I guess what I mean is that I think there were people who would be dismissive of artists whose inspirations are 50, 70 years ago, even if their work is good, because it's like, well, then you're just rehashing Rauschenberg or rehashing whatever it is. And I like the work, but I could imagine other people saying like, okay, so he's making stuff that like it looked 40, 50 years ago.
isn't that just what making timeless artwork is about?
I would say so, but I'm wondering like if you think that art needs to be on some sort of time continuum of innovation.
It is on a time continuum. Of course it is, but I also think there's not a kind of qualification for innovation, is there? Is it simply that somebody makes something new to them? Is it that somebody might make something that is even fractionally different from something it might be quite like that's from the past? Don't forget, everything's rooted in idea, which, things are dead anyway.
Sure.
Uh, I don't feel troubled by that at all. In fact, I'm shocked that you would say that. I find that a weird
I don't agree
idea.
with that. I like art for what it is in the moment, but I think there are people out there who look at art and if it's not doing something new, they're not interested.
Hang on there. I mean, we could look at lots of ultra contemporary painters now, and we could say, oh, yes, their references are Caravaggio and,
Sure, sure,
uh,
sure.
you know, and everyone would go, ooh, isn't that great?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
I
right. You're
mean,
right.
what is what? I think we take this at face value, don't we? I mean, actually, much as it pains me to do it, I can take Matt Dillon out of this work and I can look at it and I can still like it.
Yeah, it's actually good, not just for a famous guy. It's actually good.
But actually, it is important, I think, to consider that here is a person who has been surrounded by celebrity, who is a celebrity themselves,
Yeah,
and where the art then has a kind of patina of celebrity culture to it, which makes it quite pop. I mean, it's called neo-expressionistic, and
sure.
people watching are concerned with labels and fads and trends within art, you can pinpoint it within a particular oeuvre or style. But the fact is that it is many things, and that synthesis of those many things are the thing that actually, to me at least, makes it seem so fresh and timeless at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Do you have any idea how much these things go for? I'm just curious.
No, I have no idea. I mean, he's well represented. He's got several shows coming up soon, which is why I think a lot of articles have started to surface again. But there's lots of stuff being written about his painting. Probably started to gain some traction from that first image I showed from late and sort of 2010s.
Yeah.
Although, as I said, he's been making art forever. He has no formal art training. I mean, he's not been to art college. But does somebody need to go to art college to become an actor, to become a
No.
painter? Does somebody need to, you know,
Go
does
to photo
somebody need
school
to
to become a photographer?
say again, Bill?
Go to photo school to become a photographer?
Well, of course you're going to say no. Um,
By the way, I like the blue in the last one. Did you see the blue in the
yeah,
upper
the
right hand corner?
patch at
That
the
it's like,
top. Again, something almost like who was I looking at the other day? Matisse, woman with a
yeah,
green stripe. Her hair that is black is actually blue,
done over
and
the top. Yeah.
it gives this extraordinary kind of optic for making the colors vivid, but it's the painting is vivid because of
Well,
it.
it keeps this painting from being monochromatic, you know?
Yeah, but again, I'm interested in his use of the figure, and I'm
Yeah.
interested to know more about whether it's an autobiographical piece.
He's weird about the person's right hand. See, in this one, the right hand is like swinging or anything. This one, the right hand's kind of lost in a wisp.
Mm. I'm just gonna zoom forward.
Look, no right hand in that one either. It's got a weird thing about right hands.
Maybe he does. Um, he certainly has
Like
a kind of.
it's funny because those second two, those the third and fourth,
Mm.
have like a Basquiat quality to them.
Well, he cites Basquiat as somebody who's really influential on his work. I mean, I'm just looking at other names that he would have taken from. So this is just taken from, I don't know, an art, maybe ArtNet article talking about, it's influenced by street art, primitivism, his international travels. Um, but he definitely references Basquiat in another couple of articles, and so do critics as well. It has that kind of fresh.
Yeah.
Uh,
And with the writing on there too, and sort of like the graphic quality of the figures.
this work, I think, Porto Novo, is speaking about the Benin or the West African travels he did. He's
Sure.
made other work that is about this journey. He went to Africa, I think he went to Senegal to film something.
Okay.
And he already knew a lot about West Africa by all accounts because he's very interested in music, musical culture. I think he either wrote or spoke in a documentary about a pioneering jazz fusion artist with kind of Afro-Cuban
Okay.
music from the
Yeah.
maybe 1950s. Let me check that. But he's had a lot of time, I think, personally in West Africa, and then he started making work that was from found materials that looked at West African culture, but also the journeys between points. So Porto Novo and Abomey are two ports, I think, Atlantic facing ports. Quite why somebody who, if I was to ask him, I would ask him why these two places and why this measure of distance as a fascinating thing for you, because it's exactly 100 miles, I think. And I wondered if it was actually because he had physically made this journey himself, or just because he enjoyed the mapping out of a space that could be clearly delineated on a map that he might look at as an outsider.
Is the shape of the figure at all related to the geography?
Sure, I mean, and then is it still figurative? Because as we can see in a lot of his other work, he's working with the figure in some way or another. That doesn't mean
Yeah.
that he doesn't also use almost completely abstract shapes at other times. But anyway, is this theatrical? I used that word already. Do you think so?
Hmm. Yes, but I don't know if I'm tainted by who made them. You know, having an actor making work implies a theatrical nature, even if it's not implicit in the work. Also, The Crown is very Basquiat-esque.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. Theatrical, is that what the word you just used?
Hmm.
Why do you think so?
Performance. They seem that the characters are all engaged in activity and action that's for them performative.
Sure. And I guess they're none of them are sort of direct out to camera, as it were, you know?
But I like the idea also that we're not being given a scene within which to put them. We put them in our own space.
Yeah.
I really like that about it. That to me
That
is
one's really
clever.
pretty. It's, you know, it's surprised you saying all the things about him knowing so much about West Africa and all this musical stuff. Like, I don't know anything about Matt Dillon other than the movies I've seen him in. You know, I don't think I've ever watched a Matt Dillon interview. But if you had asked me, I wouldn't have thought that he would be that deep. You know what I'm saying?
But is that
Like,
because you have a bias?
I'm sure, yes, I'm sure it
You're
is a
so
bias.
good
I'm
looking.
not, I'm not denying that at all. It's just interesting to me. I'm just like, really, Matt Dillon? You know, um, like, you know, we were, earlier, you know, Adrian Brody also paints whatever it is, but his mother was a very well-known photographer and that kind of stuff. So like he had that element of stuff in his life that I knew about. So it didn't surprise me that he also makes art.
Hmm.
Um, this one just surprised me. I was like, really, Matt Dillon?
We've still not really got to the bottom of it though, Bill, in
Oh,
that.
theatric. Sorry, I'm busy talking. Um, I'm just surprised.
I love that
Um,
you're busy talking. Usually it's me holding the show together, for God's sake.
do you, do you think that if he came to the world not being an actor and just started painting, that people would notice this work?
Well, as I said already, you take the name away from it. I take my vision of the beautiful
Sure.
Matt Dillon away from it. I still really like what I see. I was still,
Sure, but would we have even seen it without his name, you know?
well, I mean, that's something that's so impossible to imagine. It really
Yeah.
takes it out of our hands, doesn't it?
It is I'd be interested to see what he says about his work.
Well, by all accounts, his studio, which is somewhere, well, somewhere in Manhattan anyway, uh, it's apparently very the floor is clean, but he's very messy. I was reading an interview with him. I, I'm always taken with the idea of how artists live and work. There's been a wonderful
Yeah.
series on Instagram. I can't remember the documentary maker's name, but he's travelled around and he's filmed inside the homes of
Yeah.
many different artists. Some of
Most of them are kind of a mess.
some of them are psychologically a mess, emotionally a mess, and their
Sure.
spaces are a mess. And some of them are truly lucid with such clarity, and their spaces are a mess. And then there's others that obviously have clinical spaces that are very well organized, full of assistants and so on. I like the idea of a studio in which Matt Dillon creates work that looks like this. This is quite a large painting. I think this is maybe like 6 foot tall. It's big. I don't know about this one, but these, I get the sense that they
But
are quite imposing, like monumental almost.
yeah.
And that then there's this studio that's not a very big studio, but where he's busy working, and that
Yeah.
that work is something that's meaningful. Now, again, whether or not this is Matt Dillon, isn't it a lovely thing to think that all over the place there are people busy in studios making things?
Yeah. It is a testament to the experience of making things in the modern world, right? Whether or not he also is, freed from the idea that he has to make a living doing this, right? So there's a certain, that's not a knock. It's just sort of he can afford to sort of make things on its own terms, and to hell with the market if he really wants to.
Mm.
Um,
But
I
don't we
think that,
all in life encounter artists who don't have extraordinary fame or good looks and who still just throw it all in the ring for art?
yeah.
I mean,
Are they
I
are
have
they suckers or are they geniuses?
I don't know if it's about genius. What I do know is it's about integrity and conviction, isn't it?
Yeah. What does integrity get you?
Well, I think that's a very American perspective, isn't it?
Questioning integrity?
No, questioning what it gets you.
I think
It's
that
kind of like a standalone thing for me.
sure.
It's
I
something.
also think if you asked younger people, they would have less faith in integrity than we do as middle-aged people.
Hang on there. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I have to say, as somebody who engages with young people every day, they seem to be quite concerned with integrity. They have different means with which to express that desire for integrity, or they have a different approach to what I think of as the physical, but they do care about if something is of them, not just belongs to them.
Hmm. I didn't read the rest. I only read the first couple of paragraphs of the article. I never got around to it. But does it talk about how he works? Does he have ideas? Does he just sketches? Is he working on bases that he then decides to put a figure over the top of?
He has talked about having always having sketchbooks. Um, and again, most what I'd think of as fully practicing artists, particularly painters, will always seem to have a sketchbook on the go,
Yeah.
recording.
There was a woman who got on the train subway with me a couple weeks ago, and she had a little sketchbook, and I could see she was like looking at me, and I could see her looking at me out of the corner of her eye, and I could tell that like she was choosing me to sketch, and so I kind of like played it cool and like let her sketch me and just didn't move that much, to make it easier for
Are
her.
you sure you were playing it cool, Bill? Do you know how to play it cool?
I thought I was playing it cool. Um, and then when I was getting off the train, I stood up and I was just like, "Can I see?" And she showed me, and she's like, "Yeah, I kind of messed you up, so I started painting the girl next to you, or drawing the girl next to you." But she showed me the sketch of like me sitting there. It was
Mm.
interesting. Yeah, it's how do you feel about untitled things versus titles? Do you think things should have titles, or is it all right just calling things untitled?
We've actually spoken about this before, and I suspect I've changed my mind several times since we've ever been speaking on this topic.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, I've always had untitled on things that I've made, and then latterly I've gone away from that, and I've started thinking, why wouldn't I give somebody something?
Or at least a number, like a reference?
But I can understand, much the same as I'm saying that, we can locate this in any space because he's not been quick to
Sure.
seal us into a particular location. Um, I think having untitled is okay. And, there's an element of not being instructed then. And I'm fine with that. It becomes more problematic, I suppose, when you want to try and archive something in your mind as a kind of maybe a chronology or give it its credence as a moment in history somehow.
I kind of want to. I'm gonna give you £100,000, and you can buy any art you want. Would you buy a Matt Dillon painting?
I actually would, but also I would simply pay £100,000 if I could go and meet him.
Yeah. You're like, do I get to meet the artist?
I'm a super fan. Actually, again, this is so funny because obviously I'm only partly joking. Matt Dillon is a beautiful looking human But isn't it funny how it's not just about heroes, but it is about heartthrobs? I don't know what your equivalent be. What do you call the equivalent? Heartthrob seems quite a masculine term.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I understand what you're trying to say, but I don't know that what word I would
I
use.
genuinely haven't really had a heartthrob for such a long time, and I do wonder if it's something that expires the older you get.
Yeah,
And other
I think
people,
it's something younger people have, right?
because I really did used to have crushes and then
You don't
heartthrobs,
have crushes anymore. You don't have crushes on famous people anymore.
not on famous people anymore. And I think that's maybe sad. There's something quite exciting about a heartthrob, isn't there?
Sure. Yeah. Sandy
Anyway,
loving Matt Dillon. Who would have thunk?
the legacy of loving him is still with me after all.
The fourth slide, the next slide over. It's interesting that he used a like a weird panel with a chunk cut out of it over there on the left.
Yeah. I mean, all of this has legacy, doesn't it, in an art historical
Yeah, it's all
context?
very Rauschenbergy kind of mid-century, thing.
Again, I'm fine with that because I love that period of art making anyway.
Sure.
And that language is something that translates really well into my sense of what makes art, I suppose. And if I really
But
interrogate that within myself, I see that um, for art to be great in my mind, maybe there is almost like a form, format, a kind of particular way that if something aligns with it, then I usually like it.
do you believe the vertical sort of scrape down the sort of yellow reddish kind of scrape down the thing? Do you think that is ripping away the black to expose what was underneath, or do you think it's a over the top thing?
It does look like it's underneath, doesn't it?
Does it look like it's kind of like I did black and now I tore off
Maybe
to
your
expose
scrapes.
the underpainting?
I mean, you can see if you were to zoom in, it would obviously be so much easier if you could ever have seen this in real life. It
Yeah,
does look to me like there is a an underpaint,
yeah.
but the top layer looks like it's scrawled in chalk almost. So who knows? I mean, that's something for me to go and find out now about. And actually, isn't it lovely that I feel like I really want to go and find out about stuff about this painting?
I know, right? I want to see this work in person actually.
Well, it's
I
going to
want
be
to see it
easier
at
for you
scale.
than it is for me. So hop to it, Bill.
Oh, is it coming? Is it in America? Is it in New York next? Is that when the next big thing is?
Well, even simply somebody of your tenacity surely could just call him up.
You know, you think that's how it works? You think I'm that good?
Yeah, and when you speak to him, tell him.
I'll be like, my friend Sandy. Actually, we just missed it. April 23rd through 23rd of May. Yep, Porto Novo and all that stuff was up
Well, you snooze, you lose, Bill.
at the Journal Gallery. We missed it.
On to the next one. Anyway, speaking of
Yeah,
seeing, heartthrob. Oh,
heart throb.
he is so dreamy. Bye,
You
Bill.
are you're all in.